Hello, beautiful souls. You are listening to Starfire, Elemental Alchemy and Zodiac Power Podcast.
where we are dedicated to transforming lives through the fusion of elemental alchemy and zodiac wisdom. Our mission is to empower individuals to harness their inner strength and cosmic alignment, creating profound shifts in energy and unlocking the true power of their astrological and elemental essence. My name is Cami, and I am one of your hosts.
And I'm Tracy, your other host. Let's get to it.
Well,
Okay.
hello, everybody. Thank you again for showing up. Good morning, Miss Tracy, or afternoon or evening, wherever you are at.
Yes, yes. It's a little bit more morning for us right now. Good morning to you. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. It's
Well, it's Friday
gorgeous
for
in the
us.
Pacific. It's Friday in the Pacific Northwest, and we have sunshine. And the thing that I did before I got onto this call was I went and I put my feet in the ground where there was some delightful sun literally beaming down, and it was so warm and so starting to be cozy underneath my feet. And I was like, ooh, I love you so much. Thank you, Mama Gaia. Thank you, Mother Earth. It was exactly what I needed to step into Virgo today.
Yay! Into the earth. Of course, step into the earth. I love Virgo. I have a little mini Virgo myself. My daughter is Virgo, August
That's
29th. I have two earth babies. And so my son, we've talked about him on Taurus. He's that fixed earth, and then she's the mutable earth. That's what Virgo is. And so it's so interesting to see how they both play on their earth qualities. I feel like I might have said it in the other podcast. Did we talk about it?
we probably did. I know that I think we did actually. I don't remember completely, but I know that we talked about Caspian and his steadfastness
Yeah.
and like his just like this tree trunk. He is so solid in his energetics, and Cece is not like that. Um,
She's not in
and
her body.
and she's not in her body, but she is so like just kind and loving and fun, and she's a fairy. Like she has that fairy energy, and yeah. So I'm excited to hear more about how you think the mutable Earth works with Cece versus the fixed Earth with Caspian.
I have the best way to explain it. First, I'm going to remind people. So the mutable, my little trick, my question for mutable is that mutable asks the element, how do I expand upon this element? How do I expand upon it? Because it's kind of representative of that steam, right, rising up. And so when you look at the way they dress, they're both earth babies. So they're both going to be tied to, like, they're going to care what's on their bodies, you know? They're going to care the car they drive, that there's going to be reasons for it. Doesn't necessarily mean they're going to have the fanciest of all the things, but just means that it's going to be a specific choice because the 3D world is their world. But for that fixed energy for my son, like he goes in, he gets himself dressed, he has a style, he knows exactly what he wants to wear. Everything has to be right where it is. He's like, no, I don't want that shirt. Sometimes he'll wear a shirt inside out or he'll wear it backwards. He's like, nope, that's how I want to do it. That's how I want it to look. Very fixed, very rooted, right? That stubborn bull. Cece is like, I'm gonna wear the headband, and I'm gonna wear the bow, and I'm gonna wear the hat, and then I'm gonna wear the scarf, and I'm gonna wear the pants, and the shirt, and the sweatshirt, and then all my rings. Because she's like, how can I make this outfit grander, right? How can I expand upon this? Like, it's never too much. And then there's also that it's Mercury. Mercury is the planet that rules Virgo. And so you have this like communication ability and this in and out, right? And so then as mutable earth, it's almost like she's communicating constantly with earth things, with people, with her interactions, and it's her playground. It's such a playground for her to have fun with things. And you know, she wants your input too. She'll let you, have input on what she's going to wear. And it's like, I'll wear that too. Give me that as well. Whereas Caspian's like, No, I'm here and that's where I'm at. So kind of funny to see that, see those changes simply by the mode.
I love that. I love that. The modes, I did not realize the complexity and the simplicity within the modes. When I very first started with astrology, it didn't make that much sense to me. But now that we have been talking about this, and now that we've been like embodying each of these elements and knowing that, like, okay, mutable, how that is, like, there's more fluid, there's more expansion, there's there's more, like, all of the things, there's more fire, there's more, like, how in a mutable sign it is going to be more of, or how can I expand upon. And so I'm really, really fascinated by those little tricks that you had. Can we refresh on that really quickly? Because I know that you gave it in one of the other ones. I think it was in Aries when we very first started. But you said you're fixed. What is your words that you say for fixed?
Fix asks, how do I embody this element? And then the cardinal, how do I have purpose with this element? And then the mutable, how do I expand? And if you think, the cardinal is like the running water, so having purpose is like, where am I going with this? What is it for? What does it all mean? They ask those questions. What does it all mean? Why am I doing this? Then the fixed mode is just like, how do I sit in it? How do I embody it? That's the ice, right? How do I firm up and really root into where I'm at and not budge? And then the steam, how can I grow? Where am I headed? What's new, what's out there? Different than the flowing of the water, which is very directional and purposeful. There isn't really a direction to the expansion. It's just open to the possibility, right? The cardinal has a goal. And oh my goodness, am I so excited because I did send you this text and I was like, look what I
Yeah.
figured out, but I don't know if you really understand what I'm seeing here. So we always, pull it into the tarot, and we have the minor arcana works like, regular deck of cards, and each element is a different suit. And so you can look at the 2, 3, 4 is going to be associated with one sign of that element. Then the 5, 6, 7 will be the second sign of that element, and then the 8, 9, 10 will be the third sign of that element. But I thought it would have just been I didn't know how it went. I'm like, so in the Pentacles, would it be Taurus would be 2, 3, and 4? Because it's the first earth element in the chart? But no. The 2, 3, and 4 are always going to relate to the cardinal sign of that element. The 5, 6,
I
and
did not.
7,
Where did you see that? How did you see that in here? Did you?
because so what it does is when you're looking at the wheel, you look at Aries,
Yeah.
right? That's a cardinal sign and it goes 2, 3, 4. Then we go to Taurus, that's a fixed one that goes 5, 6, 7 of the
Oh.
pentacles. Then we come to Gemini, 7, 8, 9, or 8, 9, 10. So around the circle, it goes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Just there's three of them, right? So just like the three modes, every 2, 3, and 4 is a cardinal sign of that element. The 5, 6, and 7, right snug in the middle, are all the fixed signs with that of that element, and then the 8, 9, and 10 are all the mutable ones. How? We cracked the code. We did it. We did it.
Oh my
But
gosh.
there's still a major mystery. And this is why I want to put on my wall, I want to put like a whole zodiac thing on like a life-size wall. When you
Me
watch
too.
detective movies and they have the red string like connecting everything?
Yes.
That's what I want to make so we can start seeing these patterns, because it's when you see it here that you in the wheel that you start seeing how it all flows. So I'm not sure, like when it comes to the two, it's like what the two of swords is the moon in, it would be the moon in Libra. It would be the moon in Libra for swords because Libra is the 2, 3, and 4 of swords. But I don't. But that doesn't mean that the moon is all the twos. It doesn't mean that all the twos is the moon in that sign. And so that's the next one that we have to crack the code on because
Correct.
I know maybe there's a pattern, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it is. But I was so excited to figure that out. So with the Virgo, obviously this is the mutable, so it's going to be the 8, 9, and 10 of the whatever that Earth suit is in the minor arcana, Pentacles. Perfect. 8, 9, and 10
Pentacles.
of Pentacles.
Wow, that is a great, great find. I'm so excited.
I know.
And
It's like
yes,
it blew me away. I was like, I figured it
there's that Virgo right there that we.
out. There you go. There you go.
Oh, I
Now,
love it.
should we read a little Stephen Forrest about
Yes.
um, our lovely Virgos? So in Virgos, what would you say are like, what do you see as typical traits as Virgos in your life?
Reliable in my life. They are the ones like I collect. I've told you I collect Virgos and I collect Capricorns because I need a lot more Earth in my life, and they're really good at like balancing things. They're very structured. They have spreadsheets. I mean, Tracy, I don't know if we talked about it, but she went away for a little bit and left a really good friend with her children. And she had an entire folder that had everything laid out for them. And my little Pisces heart is so excited about that Virgo part of her that's able to come forward and absolutely be organized in a very systematical way. It's all laid out. You can pick and choose what you need to do. All of the options are there. Like, I love that organization. That is not necessarily my strong suit. However, I'm leaning way more into that as I'm like gathering how I need to balance out my Pisces over water in my chart. So they're all, about, they love tasks. They love checking things off of a box. They love making lists. They're caretakers. They want to tend to others in the way of like making that book. I asked Tracy if the person was going to be able to receive that because some people that I know would not find that Virgo trait to be amazing, and they might feel that that was an overpower and a dictating type of situation. For me, I'm like, you just gave me the rule book, and I now get to just play with it. She luckily was totally received what Tracy had given, but
She was a
they're
Virgo.
real. She is a Virgo. Exactly. She is a Virgo. So she's like, yes, you're right up my alley. This is perfect. They are into routine. They're very routine. They like, systems, and they can probably, most of them are really good at having the same foods on a regular basis, same workout, not necessarily need to change things up. Now, I'm curious though, with it being a mutable earth, they might actually be a little bit more open to opening that up and changing and having like a different flow in the day. Like, it might be having 3 or 4 different options of a workout or 3 or 4 different options of food, and then rotating through that kind of feels like what would happen with a Virgo more so.
Yeah, I always think of my personal trainers, right? Like you said, can eat because I think they can be open, but I think they're also able to be dedicated because they're trying to see what they can do with their body and their health. That's
Yeah.
the mutable earth. The little things, the meals, they can be consistent because what they're trying to expand upon is how healthy they can be, how fit they can be. And then Virgo coming from virgin, which really, as I learned it, is not really in, like, if you go to the history of the word, it doesn't necessarily mean a woman who hasn't had sex. It's about a purity of heart. It's about a purity of intention, like a dedication there, where I feel like there was the story when I had my birth chart read, the guy was telling me about, the virgins used to live in this temple, and it wasn't necessarily that they didn't have sex, it was that they were so committed and virtuous in the service they provided to their faith and to the temple. And so looking at Virgo is like they are able to be so, they can hold to that diet, they can hold to that regime, right? Because they're wanting to see, if I do all these things and I am so pure with my intentions, what can I create? Just how far could I go? I think they make really good party planners too, because I think they're associated, I think, with the liver or the kidneys, whatever the one is that takes all the things and then goes, okay, you go over there and you go over there and you go over there. Really good at bringing in and expanding all the little parts, which would be would be their Mercury, right? That
Yeah.
Mercury coming in being like, how do we relay? How do we interact? We can take all of this and transform into that, and we can take all those pieces and put it together in this way.
Yeah, I was just reading on one of my cards that I have. It's like they signify the quality of their work, their health, and their service to others. So the quality, they care about that. So there is a very virtuous thing that is with that. So yeah, I love that. The other thing, there are some, I would say, I'm going to give not a bad side or a shadow side, but there is some shadow sides with Virgo as well, and I think we always want to expand on that too. They can be super nitpicky. They can be extremely detailed and can overpower, which is where I was asking with you if Rose was going to be okay with that. They can be very kind of dictatorship. They can be critical of others and themselves. They can be super worriers and overthinkers. Mercury, obviously, right there. They might get stuck on something and over analyzing and overdoing and stuck in the mind a lot. Versus when a healthy Virgo is connected to the body and really in here. So they might be like people that tend to work out, and because it's all about health, they might be obsessed with the gym. They might be obsessed with their food. So it could be a body dysmorphia, eating disorders, things of that nature is where I would see like a little bit of an unhealthy Virgo, and over analyzing and over criticizing themselves and others potentially.
I was just looking at the shadow sign in Stephen Forrest, and I mean, it's exactly what you've just said. The virgin's self-criticism must be tempered by absolute self-acceptance. Avoid the trap of feeling that you must make up for some inner deficiency through continuous self-sacrifice,
Mm,
which is what we were talking about. Like, they're able to do that every day. You were like, they're able to just eat the same thing because it's that, that purity of intention, right? It says, once again, the virgin must strive for purity, but the process is delicate. They must not yield to the temptation to hate their impurity. She must love herself for what she is, not for what she could be, right? Because
mm,
that's what the Virgos are always striving towards, what they could be. And in that comparison, they can get into that trap of never being enough. And then the
yep.
perfectionism comes out. We are cracking the code on these Virgos. So I'm just gonna read you the little beginning of Stephen Forrest's The Inner Sky. And he puts the archetypes as the Virgo is the servant, the martyr, the perfectionist, and the analyst. There's a quote by James Baldwin that says, one can give nothing whatever without giving oneself. That is to say, risking oneself. If one cannot risk oneself, then one is simply incapable of giving.
Mm.
Okay. Well, so it says the symbol, the virgin. Of all symbols, the most difficult to grasp. We think of virginity as inexperience, but this is not a symbol of inexperience, not of prudery, nor of any flight from passion. The virgin is an image of purity. This is like exactly what I said. I swear I know it's my book, but it's not like I remember. No. Nothing has possessed her. She is attached to nothing, wants nothing, fears nothing. Nothing holds her. She is free, unbound by any earthly drama. That's in her. That's like that's the symbol, right? That's what she's
Yep.
representing. That is the goal. To be that is that's the image of the virgin, that purity, that nothing possesses her. Yes is oh wait. Yet she is here on earth. Yep, that's true. What does the world offer one who seeks nothing but perfection? What can she do? She waits, aloof as the Madonna. She works on herself, and to pass the time, she helps out where she can.
Ah, so good. Oh my gosh. Like there's so much in that. Your higher self, when you're absolutely in your best and highest good of and service to others, is right there. Like that is really where getting out of the ego self, right? Just how can I serve and how can I be in this expanded virtuous state?
Yes.
Gosh, so
And
good.
let's look at some of the connections here with well, first, sure, let's talk about the house. Did you we go over the house, then we'll
Yeah.
move into the tarot.
Okay, so it's the sixth house. Sixth house rules over health. So there we go. Goes back
Of,
into
you
all the
know,
things that we're talking about. Health and quality of work and service to others. It is about caretaking, about self improvement, daily maintenance of the body, of your house, of your home, duties, responsibility, um, health, not just in your physical body health, but mental health, spiritual health, all of the, yeah, service to others. And yeah, it's I work is the word that I have. What do you have for Virgo?
nothing as far as um, nothing as far
The
as
words.
the word. Do you want to elaborate
Okay.
on what's that card there?
Yeah, no, just as I work. So they are very loyal, they're ethical, practical, they are analytical, they can be very detailed. So they are worker bees. They are really good at getting shit done. That is, and then and another place that I had seen something that said I analyze, and I was like, yeah, that's also what I would say for Virgo. I analyze.
I analyze. Yeah, I like, and I work. I like that. So I have some associations here with the tarot. First, I have obviously we mentioned the 8, 9, and 10 of Pentacles because the 8, 9, and 10 in the minor are all for the mutable. And then when I was looking at the 8, 9, and 10, I'm like, oh man, that's right. Like really good cards. And it makes no sense. So the 7 of Pentacles is, or sorry, what do I have here? 8. 5, 6, 7. I don't have the 8. But the 8 is prudence, 8 of
Mm.
Pentacles. And eights are, in general, I call a solution. And that is where you start realizing where to be better. You know, you spent too much money. The next time you go, you don't spend as much money. You know, you made some bad investments. Next time you level up, you don't make those investments again. So the 8, it sounds very Virgo, very, getting back to that purity. What am I doing? Where do I learn my lessons? Let's get back on track. So love that. And that's in the ways of making money, health. We were talking about how they treat themselves, how they eat, all those things. Then we move into the 9, and I love the 9 because she's standing in like an orchard with all these grapes growing around her. And what it represents is the fruits of your labor. I can't remember what it's called because I lost my book, but I like to call it fruition. because
Mm.
it really is about, you think about grapes, you think about wine, how many years of tending to those vines before you even get the grape, and what makes the grapes even better is when they struggle a little bit. And so it's really showing this beauty, and it's the nine, right? We've come down the pipeline. We're at the end of the road. This is I say for nines, that's where do we go from here, right? And I love the where do you go from here because it's representing we have possibilities in front of us because of what we've done, and that's such a Virgo quality. That's why you get these people who are like crazy fit and do triathlons because they're like, look what I can do now. And now that I did this, I have these opportunities because I put all those mornings at 5 a.m., getting up and doing all the work. So the nine really represents that Virgo to me. And you also see on her dress in the card, she's got a Venus. And I think about Venus being, or yes, Venus being attached to Virgos a lot, even though they're ran by Mercury. But it's still just, I feel like there's something there. And so I love the fact that there's this little nod to Venus on her dress, because it's such a nurturing spirit as well. Were you going to add something? I
I
see.
was just
Yeah.
because I just looked it up. It's also abundance, luxury, self sufficiency, and financial independence
Is that
is
the
the
nine or is that
nine.
the 10? That's
That's
the,
the nine.
really?
Yeah.
Because the 10 is called luxury. And
Oh, that's interesting.
that's about like deep rooted financial sustenance. Like on the 10, you see like an old guy, some middle-aged people, and then a child and dogs, and like they're in like a castle, and it's like representing like this deep rooted, another great card, right?
Hmm.
It's like the next step. I mean, they go hand in hand, right? It's the 8, 9, 10. It's prudence. You start going, hold on, I'm gonna start saving my pennies. And then you go, wow, I saved so many pennies and made so many great choices. I now have all these possibilities. And then the 10 goes, yeah, and then that goes on generationally. And like then it opens up and expands to, yeah, and it's not video. What's that time? I'll write that down real quick.
42, 42, 42, I think it was.
Okay, no problem. Um, yeah, and that's that next step. You get to,
Yeah.
now that you've really been diligent and you've had this payoff, now
It's
it's
a celebration.
it's a
It's the
celebration. Yeah.
celebration card.
And
Yeah.
ready to start anew,
Which
right?
is
Those tens,
which is
it's like
tens
a big,
anyway.
yep. Now the next generation is setting on their path and all of what's available to them because of
Yeah.
all that's happened before. So love that. But there's also, they say the king, and the ace. I mean, the ace represents all of the earth signs, Taurus and Virgo and Capricorn.
Yep.
But if you look at the Ace of Pentacles, it's like the entrance to a garden with this beautiful um, vines covering the archway into the garden. And so that feels very much like what can be, what do you want to grow? What kind of garden do you want to sow? So I love that. And I feel that really connects to Virgo. And then with the king, it's kind of that 10 of pentacles as well. It's like this is a mature, experienced masculine energy that has been very successful in getting the earthly accommodations that they want, right? I don't always want to say it's just about money, but it's about being successful in the way that you feel successful within the earth element, whether it's business, money, family, setting world records. I would say that's definitely under this realm of Virgo. But then you also have the world from the major arcana. But I think that's there because of the element. The world is not really attached to any one card. It's
Mm.
just attached to the earth element. It is the world. That makes sense. So I think that's why they kind of nod. Okay, there's some Virgo-esque tendencies there with the world because that is an earth element. And then also, I think they wrote there's the magician because the magician is ruled by Mercury. So those are some associations, but I think the really hard-hitting like representation in a major arcana card is the hermit.
Hmm. Yeah, yes,
Because,
yes.
right? Because the hermit is all about looking inside, working on yourself, and having that purity of intention where you're aligning with your higher self, you're aligning with your values, and you're moving forward on a personal journey. And that's what we've been talking about this whole time.
Yeah, I have a friend. I haven't really dove deep into gene keys and into human design, but one of my really good friends who is a Virgo is the Hermit. It is her archetype in human design, and so it's this. She has to have that time that she goes inside fully to then reemerge with new ideas, new possibilities, new expansion. And it's a cycle that I literally have watched her in all of these years. And when she realizes, okay, this is where we're at, I need to go into a hermit cycle. I'm going to be withdrawing. I'm going inside. I'm going to be off of social media. I'm going to, not be responding to texts. I'm going to be very specific and intentional with the people that I'm surrounding myself with. And I'm going to revisit. She's also she's a coach of mine too, but she's, revisit every single year who's in your inner circle, who are the people that you want to be spending time with, it's the reevaluation space. And so I think it's really important for people that have the Virgo tendencies or are Virgos or have something in their chart where Virgo can be really stabilizing, is utilizing these other kinds of tools to allow yourself the grace of going inside. I think so many of us are always wanting to be outward. Not necessarily all of us, but so many of us believe that is the way that we're going to make money, have financial abundance. All of that is to be outward, and that isn't actually, I think, the case so much. And we're learning that now, that we can actually go inward and take that time, rest, restore, and then go back out into the world when we've filled up our cups in a way.
Absolutely. I love how you put that too, like having the grace to allow yourself to go inside. And then, yeah, what do you see when you're there and are you happy with it? And I think that's kind of, looking at Virgo, we talk about the bad side. There's not really a bad side. There's maybe it's kind of like in energetics, you either have a deficiency or you have an excess. And so when that Virgo goes inside, if they're deficient, they're not going to be enough and they're going to
Yeah.
cling to those self-sacrificing practices like it's giving life. They're never going to miss a day, they're never going to miss a workout, and it's going to be obsessive. But then you go inside and then there's too much and there's a lot. All of a sudden you feel like you're a little flying higher than everybody else, and you do have legitimate things to pat yourself on the back for, right? They are like incredible humans, some of these Virgos, and but then it gets to their head, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden they feel like they can boss you around and kind of put you down. um,
Yeah.
or yeah, step in where they're not supposed to step in. I think that's a lot. With they don't really, I don't think they are the harsh with the tongue as much, but just more of yeah, they'll butt in and try to manage, and you're like, nope.
They're very good at doing that,
Yeah.
containing.
Yeah. Contain yourself, Virgo. Contain yourself. But then also accept yourself. So I think we've done a pretty good job of analyzing this amazing sign here of
I
Virgo.
think so too. I think we did a very good job of that. I hope that you didn't hear my dogs. That's what I was doing this. But if you did, it was in the 48 times.
Yeah, I think it's good.
I don't know.
We
Um,
we love
so
your dogs. And no, I
we're
hardly.
in real life, real time
We are.
services right now. So
God.
we are not in a professional recording studio where there is no noise and there is no human interaction. Yeah, so that's where we're at right now. But yes, thank you to the Virgos. I used to have a really hard time with Virgo men, and but what I found is that the Virgo men that I was associating with were not really in their highest vibration, and so they were more complainers than they were problem solvers. And so as I've been working more with this archetype and falling in love with Virgos, as it within myself, falling in love with that part of me on the masculine or the feminine side of me, like where can I be really structured in my finances? How can I be, detail things out, and so I'm not so lofty all over the place. Those are really, really, really important key elements for me in my own life and own existence. And so I've been falling in love with the Virgos. Again, I don't know if we talked about or said it's from August 23rd to September 22nd is when the Virgo season is. And I think that's everything that we have
That's
about
everything.
them.
I want to mention one more thing because you were just saying how it's our opposite, right? We're both Pisces mutable water, Virgo mutable earth, and we're across from each other. And yeah, so it does take our flightiness of emotion and kind of bring it down and root it into the earth so that we can actually do the things to get where we are fantasizing about. But then to to look back, that would make sense that our energy would be so helpful for the Virgo to allow them to let go sometimes and say, move into that intuition. And if you feel that maybe you shouldn't do something one day and something else is meant for you, that it's okay to skip, that meeting. It's okay not to do that thing that you were going to do to get out of that rhythm that you're so tied to. It's okay to allow some unexpected and to not have necessarily a reason for your purpose, right? Pisces, how many times the Pisces are like, I don't know, I just think it looks fun and I'm just not really thinking about it. I just want to. Don't you want to? I want to. And Virgo's like, it's like that would be very stressful. They're like, why? Why are we going? What are we doing? What is the time? What is the purpose? Like, what are we doing? And so I think to look at it that way too, I'm like, okay, if you're a Virgo out there, like check into your Pisces a little bit and allow yourself to float up into the clouds and be okay with it. Get weird a little bit. Come out of your perfectionism. Come out of your routines. Come out of your beauty and be weird a little bit. It's okay.
I love that so much.
Yay! Just helping
Yay.
Virgos out there. Just helping Virgos. All right. Well,
Coming from the Pisces to the Virgos, and maybe we'll get a Virgo on here one of these days, and then we can see how they tap into their Pisces
yes.
side.
I know lots.
So
I think
yes,
I collect them too. We balance each other out. We're good for each other.
we do, we do. I absolutely collect them, and I didn't realize it until later on in life, and I was like, oh, this makes so much sense. I need these in my life to give me some groundedness. Well, thank you,
Uh,
everyone. Again, we appreciate being able to sit and talk about Virgo and the energetics. Did we? We did talk about the planets. We talked about all of it.
we talked about
So
it.
Mercury.
Mercury. Here we go. Well, thank you. Join us next time because now we have to talk about Libra next.
Yes, Libra. Ooh, the balancers, right? The
Here you go. See
balance
you
of the
next month
scales.
for Libra.
See you next month.
Ciao.